panel, or session 1, will be on tech use in the upcoming election. We are going to look at the role of the tech and online communities. This panel will be moderated by Dr. Matunda and Nyanchama from Agano Consulting, who is here with us. And I would like to invite Chris Musando, Mr. Chris Musando from the IEBC. Let's snap for him as he comes up. I would like to invite the representative of ELOG, who is representing Regina, to please come up. Let's snap for him as well to encourage you. Mr. Emmanuel Chebukati, please join us up here. Mr. James Wamathai and Jessica Musila from Mzalendo. Let's snap for them as they come up. So over to you, Dr. Nyanchama.
Amjambo. Hey, kama mmechoka tayari, we are only starting. Amjambo. Now we are going to deal with a matter I think that is really important. That has had a lot of controversy. That has a lot of issues and focus with respect to the big events for the year, which are the elections. And I'm really happy to be moderating this session. What I'd like to do is that the questions that were sent out, and I would like that the speakers and the panelists address those with respect to the guidelines that were given, so that we get a sense of how we are going to use this technology, the risks that are there, and how we are going to mitigate this with respect to the expectations, the big expectations that the nation has. The key questions are, how can technology contribute to free and fair elections? That's one of the things that we need to bring on the table. How central is technology for IEBC in the elections? Have we done enough? That's a big question that everybody is asking. In fact, I will add a right that did we learn anything from the last elections? The other question is, how has the internet, social media, expanded space and the political participation? How has this done this with respect to elections? How should we treat fake news? By the way, this is a big menace, and some of our leaders have become victims of that, citing fake news in their speeches. And lastly, what roles can technology and online community play to ensure free and fair elections? So, we are going to go in some order, and I'd like to call Chris Musando, LYCT at IEBC, to the podium to make his remarks. Chris Musando.
Thank you very much, Moderator, Internet, for inviting us to come and share with you the experiences, the plans, and the preparedness of the IEBC in terms of utilization of technology for purposes of these upcoming general elections. I would like to go straight to the issues, which are the questions, the contribution or the potential contribution of technology to free and fair elections in Kenya. Now, I'd like first to make it clear that technology is an enabler in processes. So we cannot, as a country, rely on technology to deliver elections for us. Because elections, first of all, is a process. And therefore, as a country, we must understand that technology is only an enabler of that process. That said, as a country, where are we coming from? We are coming from an environment where we don't trust each other as a people. We don't trust ourselves, and we don't trust our institutions, we don't trust our processes, which we have given to ourselves. And therefore the IEBC, as the electoral management body charged with running elections in the country, has to employ technology to ensure that the stakeholders and the players can believe in the process. And as I've said, technology is an enabler. What role then does technology play in terms of delivering free and fair elections? Now, as I've said, elections is a process that involves people, involves managers of elections, involves political players, involves stakeholders, and involves voters. As IEBC, we have invested heavily in technology, learning from the experiences of 2013 to enable us fill some of those gaps that actually happened in 2013. We have invested in a biometric system, biometric voter registration system, which you are all aware of. We have also invested in an electronic voter identification system, and we have also invested in electronic results transmission system. This is the integrated technology that we are deploying as a commission to use to run the 2017 general elections. What are the safety measures that we put in place to ensure that the elections are free and fair within this technology? First of all, as it has been said before by our commissioners, by our CEO, and many of our media engagements, is that the identification for voters on election day will be primarily through biometrics. As you have seen through the KPMG report, in the current register, we have 5,200 people without biometrics. These are people who either their biometrics are destroyed and therefore could not be captured during registration. These are people who are probably disabled, they don't have biometrics at all, and therefore, as Kenyans, they are still entitled to their democratic right to practice their democratic right in electing their leaders, and therefore we cannot disenfranchise them. So our expectation as a commission is that on election day we expect these 5,200 people to be identified through complementary mechanism. Again, there are Kenyans who may have registered biometrically, but through the process of their engagement in earning a living, may have had their biometrics destroyed. Again, we cannot disenfranchise these people to exercise their democratic right, and as such, if they cannot be identified through biometric process, they will be identified through complementary mechanism. Why are we doing this? We are doing this to control the obvious. And the obvious is where people can vote several times. By identifying people biometrically, the Elections Law Amendment Act 2016-2017 has made it very clear that the Commission must use technology to run elections. The amendment that happened in December and January of this year introduced what we call a complementary method. But the law did not actually define what complementary method is. It was left to the Commission to come up with that method and to come up with guidelines to ensure that that complementary method is a method that is acceptable by the stakeholders. Now, in the design of our technology, we factored in the complementary method, purposely for identifying people whose biometrics cannot be read by the device. And that is what we are calling the alphanumeric search. You appear to a polling station, to a polling officer, you produce your ID card. The Kenyan ID card has an MRC code at the back. Our system is able to read that MRC code and retrieve the details of that particular voter who cannot be identified biometrically. And that is an alternative method of identification for voters. Now, when it comes to resource transmission, where we have put a lot of effort in terms of controlling the obvious, again, issues of ballot stuffing, which have occurred in previous elections, we have put mechanisms in place to control that. And one of the good things that the Elections Amendment Act actually brought to us, many of us probably have not read it in detail, is the capping of the polling station number of voters to 700. That means for polling station you can only have a maximum of 700 voters to be identified. Now when it comes to resource transmission, we have put a control in the resource transmission system, whereby when the presiding officer finally wants to transmit results after the tallying, the system automatically picks the number of the identified voters and caps the transmission to those numbers. Meaning you cannot transmit anything over and above the voters that actually appear in that polling station. That helps us to control issues of cheating in terms of ballot stuffing. So if people appear there and they get positively identified either through biometric or alphanumeric search, those are the results that will be transmitted at the end of the day. So that is going to help us in terms of control for the resource management framework. Now, what happens at the back end? The results will be transmitted as has been translated by the Court of Appeal judgment that happened last week, and those results are final. So results will be transmitted from the polling station to a central server. These results will be verified and validated by the returning officers as the law requires, and those results will be final. We have also put in a mechanism in terms of transparency and accountability to ensure that results transmitted go to a public portal so that every other Kenyan can see those results as they stream in. And that means there is no room for cheating in terms of changing results at the end of the voting process. Thank you.
I did hear those sounds, eh? They are not loud enough. Isn't that assuring? Yeah, I'll be interested from a risk management perspective what you've taken with respect to potential technology failure, but that will come at the end. Can we have next Regina? You are sitting for Regina, right? Please.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. I'm Musila, representing Regina from the Elections Observation Group. And basically, we observe the EMDs, how they are conducting the electoral processes, how even other civil society are doing their civil education and so on and so on. I'm here to answer a few questions. So I'll start on how technology can contribute to free and fair elections. But bear in mind that technology gives people a means to develop systems that are that should not only be for just the sake of developing a system, but also, or rather, to design a cost-effective and proven solution for the people. So if you develop a system and it's so tedious or it doesn't give you correct results, there's no need of going to digitize. It's rather, you can even do things manually. So if you build a solution, we should address the current electoral system, difficulties in the electoral systems. Like last time we had a breakdown on the tallying system. We want an improved version of a relaying information system whereby we can get instant information of the results, instant information of every tallying station, every polling station, and be able to tabulate them as independents to even for ourselves give a true picture and verify the results which are being portrayed by the election management body. Also for security purposes, we also need technology to be incorporated to ensure security of the information, security of the results, and the security generally of the transmission. If we have security in the transmission of the results, it will be a guarantee that regardless of anything, we can even verify the results which are portrayed and the official results which should be published by the government.
I think it's so.
Thank you. On using of internet and social media, okay, as ELOG we use different types of techniques to monitor and observe elections, from open source to developed to closed source systems which we use to verify and monitor the processes. So on use on social media, we don't rely heavily on social media, but we also get information which we complement our reports, because we must make follow-ups. We have more than 6,000 observers on the ground. So if we get something on the social media, we must follow up, do a phone call, and follow up the information to avoid hoax information or the fake news. So on the fake news, what we do, if we get information, we do a due diligence research and we verify who produced the information. We don't only rely on one source of information, one source of media, sorry. We rely on different sources, different outlets of media, so that we can at least get a credible source of information. And we also support it with good journalism. We don't share hoax information, or we don't share fake news. So we also encourage our observers, our members, to share credible information which we have gathered. For the role of online community, I'll give like 4 examples. In Ghana, they used the election management body used an application whereby if every polling station had
yeah, we continue on that. I think what is going to be fair is that we give everyone a chance, and I've been called to order, and I want to suggest this. For those questions that we have, for the next people, let's try to address those other questions we have had. I think we've talked about technology and identification, transmission, and tallying. Can you quickly wrap up what you are saying about fake news? Then we proceed. How do you actually counter fake news? Aside from saying, I have identified, how do you counter it when it's in the world?
Okay, thank you. I'll give you an example which really happened to us recently. Over the few weeks, we had a copyright website which portrayed that it's observing elections in Kenya and deploying 7,000 guys in Kenya to monitor and observe elections. But if you look at the website and compare it to ours, we had copy-pasted like literally everything what we do and what our missions, our past, our jobs and everything. So what we did to check that, we released a press statement to the media and to the public, and even warned the public that we are not even associated to the website, and now we followed it up to the authorities to now try and counter-check if it's legit and why they are using our information to advertise and to lie to Kenyans.
So, on fake news, how much of a problem is this?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Matunda. Good morning. Can the people at the back hear me? I think the sound, okay, good. Fake news is indeed becoming increasingly a challenge, and we have to ask ourselves, why are we succumbing to this fake news? One of the reasons is that the people who perpetrate fake news earn a living from this. This is their job. They need followers, they need likes, they need clicks, whatever it will take to put some money in the bank account. Now, there's a bill, I think, that is being introduced, I recently read about, that hopes to, or aims to punish perpetrators of fake news with a fine of either 1 million Kenya shillings or 5 years in jail or both. There are a few other measures that have been put in that bill, some of which I disagree with. But I do agree that such bills need to be discussed and we need to have them openly put in the public domain so that we find a way to deal with this menace.
Very good. My question is the next speaker. How effective are we at policing fake news? The only issue is that as much as we have the law, how effective are we? We have the capacity to track, to trace, to actually catch the perpetrators.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Kikta, for the invite. I just want to give some perspective about this whole fake news thing. Of course, it was made popular last year, by the US election, and I just want to say that fake, false news, propaganda, misinformation, whatever you want to call it, is not new. It has been in Kenya for a very, very long time. The Kenyan president was a victim when he tried to run, run as an MP for the very, very first time. And I think if you put it in that context, then you'll understand it's really, really not new. What is complicating this issue of fake news is the fact that is the internet and the fact that there are a lot of people online. And also, the thing about it is for someone to create, publish, and spread this news, it's very, very easy. And the thing about it is, there needs to be a lot of education about how, to the public about consumption of news and the importance of verification. But I feel as far as the election is concerned, we don't really have time. We don't really have time to do a lot of that education. And the thing that can be done and the thing that should be done is the